RFX. Every now and then I stick them inside a sausage link.
We got a king sausage here.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Texas. I am here with Martin at the Chuds shop on a beautiful day here in Austin, Texas. And today we're gonna be making some jalapeno cheese sausage.
I'm excited for this sausage. We're gonna be using RFX Wireless Probes to cook this, right?
Absolutely, love these things. They come in super handy, especially here because all the cookers are outside, big thick walls, but this thing always makes it through.
That's right.
And it's pretty important to have your temperature controlled on sausages because we got a few different target temps we're gonna be aiming for. It's gonna be a beef and pork blend. So we've got some brisket lean and some pork belly. We're usually aiming for around an 80-20, 70-30 fat ratio. So it's nice and juicy, nice and plump and super flavorful as well. It's been in the freezer for the last hour or so, just not frozen solid, but nice and cold.
Yeah.
That way when it goes through the grinder, it generates a little bit of heat in there. We don't want the fat to seep out or start smearing or anything like that. So we're just gonna send this right on through. We got the coarse die on this grinder. Make real quick work of it.
So are you sending the jalapenos through with the meat?
Yep, jalapenos go through. You could dice them up, but this is just a lot more efficient, and it gets at the same size grind as the meat, so it should incorporate really well, and just makes life a lot easier. So there we go, all ground up, looking nice and clean. You see you got individual particles of fat, so nothing smeared, which is exactly what we're after.
So do we go with the seasonings now?
Yep, seasonings are going in. You want to throw those in?
Yeah, man. Milk powder in now?
Yep.
Milk powder in now.
This is high temp milk powder, which is ideal for sausage making. You can use the regular stuff from the store, but this stuff seems to work a little bit better. But if you don't want to order it specially, regular milk powder.
Regular milk powder will do, okay.
So now we're just gonna try and get this incorporated as evenly as possible without having too much spices kind of caking to the bottom, which is why I usually do an initial mix with just the seasonings before we add the liquid, which is the next thing going.
Okay. What do you like to use for liquid in your hot link?
You can use whatever you like. You know, I've done stock plenty of times. Beer is a fun one.
Oh yeah.
But for the most part, I just stick with water. This is 10% by weight.
Okay.
And this is what's gonna kind of turn it from ground beef or like taco meat or something into a nice tight farce. It's gonna really help the emulsion that is happening, and it's gonna make sure everything comes together as one unit. And we're gonna add the cheese at this point.
All right, cool.
Which will be delivered magically. Oh. So if you want to dump that in, that is high temp cheddar cheese, which is a specific cheese for making sausage that doesn't melt nearly as easily as like something off the shelf, which is kind of a hot topic. Some people don't like it because it's not real cheese. I do prefer the high temp cheese just because, you know, you don't end up with pockets in your sausage where the cheese melted out, and it's not gonna get all over the pit if we overcook these, which we're not gonna do because of our RFX Wireless. As you can see, this is all well mixed together and it's sticking to the hand, which is always a good sign. You know, kind of wants to pull your glove off almost. So that means we've got proper protein extraction and, you know, started the emulsification, and it's nice and tacky. And it's smelling real good.
Smells amazing.
Looks nice and fatty, got some good cheese in there. Jalapenos are poking through. So this is our sausage stuffer. This is a 5-pounder, and this is a 5-pound batch.
Packing it in, trying to get no air bubbles here.
Yep,
right?
that's the idea. Now it's time for everyone's favorite part. So these are natural hog casings. These are 28 to 32 mil, which is the size I like because they're not too fat.
Yeah.
But they're not like sheep casings or something like that. We're not making hot dogs.
And for me, natural hog casings is my favorite way to go. I've tried the synthetic ones. I just don't like it nearly.
They're just not the same. They don't snap.
Yeah.
So I got a little water in here just to flush this out and help it go onto the horn here a little bit easier. Tie it off. These come packed in salt, so I already soaked them for a couple hours, flushed a bunch of water through them because we don't want these to be super salty.
And you can keep them packed in salt in the freezer basically indefinitely, which is fantastic. All right, shall I?
Yep.
All right, you manage the tension there, and I'll go with the crank.
This is nice. I've never had a helping hand before. Stop, twist it off. I like to go link by link, just because you're gonna have a lot fewer air pockets. Like you could do one big rope and then go around and twist them individually, but I just find you get a lot more air pockets that way. And this way I can have complete control over each link for the perfect plumpness.
And that's a gorgeous looking sausage there.
Name of the game here is to get these as taut as possible without popping the casing, which takes a long time to get dialed in.
Yeah, it does. One thing we wanted to try was to see if we could actually put an RFX wireless probe in a sausage link. We're always talking about how we need to go to the minimum immersion line, And they're like, well, what if we go to the maximum immersion line and just put the whole thing in there? What do you think?
I mean, if that thing can go through concrete walls, it can go through a couple inches of sausage. All right, so we're gonna stick this right in the horn.
Right in the horn. Awesome.
Tie it off yet again.
All right.
This is wild.
See how this goes.
This might be the new thing. Look how straight that is. All right. There it is, folks. The first.
Can you feel it in there?
Yeah, I can feel it in the end. I'm just trying to center it again. But there it is. We got a thermometer built into the sausage.
We're reading 54.2 degrees on that sausage from all the manhandling and the grinding and stuff like that.
That's very nice. Very convenient too.
I know, right?
Especially because with sausage making, you need to keep an eye on the temperature, right? But if you're poking it with a thermopen, you're gonna pop the casing and that one's gonna be all wrinkly,
So we're gonna put this on the smoker now. What temp are we running the smoker at?
Smoker is pretty cold, running at about 150 degrees, really low, nice and smoky. That way we can get some good color and flavor on these bad boys without cooking them too quickly.
Okay, and we're keeping track of that temperature using the included air probe with the RFX gateway, right?
Mm-hmm. Which is very convenient. One app, you can monitor the sausage and the pit. We can hang out in here, which is nice because there's air conditioning.
It is way humid out there, so let's do that. All right, should we throw them on?
Let's do it.
All right.
Alrighty, offset smoker. A lot of thick smoke in there. That's what we're after. You know, a lot of people talk about dirty smoke, and that's something you want to avoid for like a brisket or a really long cook. But super thick smoke is really going to help get these flavorful and nice and colored. So now we're just going to load these on, all tied together. So these are all looking good. None of them are touching. And this guy right here is the one with the RFX Wireless Probe in it. So you're going to have to help me remember that so I don't bite into it.
Can do. And then we've got our air probe in here watching the pit temps too.
Yep, very convenient. So we're just going to shut it down and get some good color and smoke flavor on these.
All right, let's come back to it later. So we're 160, Brad. What were we looking for?
Anywhere above 150, but not too much further than that is what we're aiming for. Just so these are cooked through. Definitely got some good smoke color on there, feeling nice and firm.
How did the probe do inside the sausage?
I mean, it's still in there, no blowouts or anything like that. I mean, I would have no idea that that's in there, so this is definitely a trick I'm gonna keep around.
Brad, why do we need to put the sausages in an ice bath?
Well, that's gonna do a few things. First of all, it's gonna cool them down rapidly so they don't continue to carry over. It's also gonna shrink the casings up to the meat, kind of shock them a little bit so we get the really nice, thin, snappy bite.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I don't know about you, but I'm not planning on eating all of these right now.
No, 1 or 2 maybe, but not 6 or 7.
So we'll cool these down so we can back seal the rest of them, put them in the fridge, in the freezer, whatever, and then they'll just be fully cooked, smoked, and ready to go whenever we want them.
Okay, cool.
But the big benefit of also doing this is, my grates are not the cleanest, so this is gonna help
Clean them off just a little bit, yeah.
So in the ice bath, these will sit for probably about, 10 minutes or so, just to cool down.
Is there a temperature that we're looking for?
Really, we're just trying to get it cold as, we're going into the fridge, so as close to that as possible, but as long as we're under about 75 degrees, we've hit the target mark.
Here we've got the RFX in advanced mode, which means we're looking at the temperatures of all 4 sensors in there. And our highest temperature is 71. Everything else is below that. And if we look at the graph even, we can see, here's where we put the RFX Wireless Probe into the sausage. Here's where we put it on the grill. And you can see it went up when we increased the temperature of the smoker. It went up like this. And then when we put it in the ice bath, the temperatures dipped precipitously and kind of went along this array right here.
We also got a thermopen handy, so let's go ahead and see how this is looking. Always double check.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hitting right where we want to be. Great.
Pit's nice and hot. Shouldn't take long at this point.
And we've got our RFX sausage in here too, so we're keeping an eye on the temperature still. Brad, we're at 161.9. They're going to carry over. It's still going up. Should we take them off?
Absolutely. Let's take a look at them. Oh, yeah. So that took, what, 30 minutes?
About that, yeah.
Halfway through we came and we flipped them over just to get even cooking, and these are looking absolutely beautiful. I mean, just give that a little squeeze.
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, that's like a perfect looking sausage right
Yeah, you can't ask for better
there.
than
That
that.
is beautiful. Nice and plump. They didn't explode.
Well, we've got the sausages, and we brought in special guest Jeremy Yoder. How's it going, Jeremy?
Excellent. If there's one thing I'm qualified to do, it's eat barbecue. So sign me up. Let's go.
Well, let's slice it open and take a look, shall we?
Absolutely. These are rocking around 140 internal, which is perfect eating slice. And just look at that link, especially when we compare the color after that second smoke. Looking good, but let's get a few slices, shall we? That is looking pretty good to me.
That looks absolutely gorgeous.
Look at the smoke ring you got on there.
Smoke ring looking nice and juicy. Good amount of cheese, good amount of jalapeno in there.
High temp cheese or no?
High temp cheese, yes sir.
Ah, that looks phenomenal, dude.
So we should eat it, right?
I think we should.
I think we should eat it.
See how these came out.
Twist my arm.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. It's well balanced.
Yeah, I like the amount of cheese in there too. Not too much.
It's got smoke, it's got cheese, it's got the right amount of salt, but like everything works together. I'm not getting blown away by spice. I'm not like drowning in cheese, though I wouldn't be opposed to it.
So we need to be careful because there is a surprise inside one of these.
Yeah, what's that cake in Louisiana where you gotta find the
The king cake.
The king
Yeah,
cake,
yeah,
yeah. We got a king sausage here.
There we go.
There it is. It survived.
In great shape. RFX Rugged Products. Well, Brad, thanks so much for showing me how you make this sausage and using RFX along the way. It's been great to shoot with you here. I hope to do it again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. You're always welcome here at the Chud Shop. That was a very good day, very easy sausage, and can't really argue with those results.
No, you can't. Temperature matters. Use thermometers that work. Nothing works like ThermoWorks. Until next time, thanks for watching.